Yes, it's mid-August. Yes, we are talking a mock draft. That is what we are doing here on today's show. I am Nic Rohloff. A 2025 NBA mock draft. Bleacher Report dropped one, and I wanted to talk about it and kind of really, not really talk about the team fits, but talk about more about the prospects in general and start to educate all the NBA fans at home on what some young guys and foreign guys we should keep our eye on for as we get closer and closer to the college basketball season. But make sure you are following me over on X/Twitter. At Nic_Rohloff is my handle. I lead our NBA draft coverage here at Chat Sports. So if you want to be up to date on everything happening with the draft, whether it be news, rumors, updates on players, my Twitter would be the best place to do that. At Nic_Rohloff is my handle. Go give me a follow today. All right, no shock here, but the number one overall pick, this one goes to the Brooklyn Nets. It's Cooper Flagg, the forward from Duke. I really do think Cooper Flagg is ultimately going to be one of the best draft prospects that we ever see, at least in the last 10 years, right? And if you go back 10 years, that's going to include a Victor Wembanyama. That's going to include a Zion Williamson. It's going to include a lot of really good young players, but I do believe in Flagg's skill set. I think the way he can handle the rock, the way he can defend inside and on the perimeter, he is going to have a dominant freshman year as a Duke Blue Devil. Stinks for us Duke haters out here, but individually as a player, Cooper Flagg is really dang good, and I think if you span from 25 to 15 in terms of NBA drafts, the number one player overall would be Cooper Flagg, number two overall player would be Victor Wembanyama. Number two overall player would be Cooper Flagg in terms of draft prospects. Number two in this mock draft was actually Dylan Harper, the guard from Rutgers, going to the Washington Wizards. And we could actually throw in the next pick here too, Goldman, because we're going back-to-back Rutgers Scarlet Knights, baby. Yes, you are not mistaken by seeing two Rutgers players go number 2 and number 3 overall. They're building a program over in New Jersey. And Harper, he's really good. Ace Bailey is very, very good. It wouldn't shock me if Ace Bailey ultimately ends up being the best guard in this draft. But yes, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, they are going to be very good this season. They're young, but they have the best recruiting class behind Duke. I really like what Rutgers has been building over there. How about VJ Edgecomb, the guard from Baylor? And if you didn't see his highlight tape from the Olympic qualifiers, you are missing out. As an 18-year-old, he played for Team Bahamas as they were trying to get into the Olympics. They ultimately came up a little bit short, but Edgecomb was going nuts. He was having highlight reel dunks, poster dunks, averaged about 17-plus points per game alongside Buddy Hield and some other NBA players playing for the Bahamas. At 18 years old, he was balling out on a big stage, playing players like Luka Doncic and Giannis Antetokounmpo as they look to qualify for the Olympics. I expect Edgecomb to have a dominant freshman year for the Baylor Bears, and I am going to have my eye on him for a top 5 draft pick when we get to the draft next June. Another guard here to the Utah Jazz, Drake Powell, the freshman guard that is going to the University of North Carolina. The Tar Heels actually have a couple players in this draft that are going to be quite good. Powell, really athletic, can do it all, and I'm excited to see how he works alongside a talented freshman from a year ago at North Carolina, and Elliot Cadeau, as long as they still have RJ Davis as well. That UNC team is going to be very, very fun to watch. We'll see how Drake Powell does in his first year. All right, cheeky little question here. We went through 5 players so far. Cooper Flagg is number 1. I don't think that changes. I think even if he somehow tore his ACL, knock on wood, that does not happen, he would still go number 1 overall. But let me know, who is the best player in this draft not named Cooper Flagg? I think it's going to be this man right here, Nolan Traore. And yes, I am calling my shot right now. I spoke highly of the 2 players going to Rutgers. I spoke highly of VJ Edgecomb and Drake Powell. But the French guard, Nolan Traore, I really like his skill set. He can do it all on 3 levels. He's a fantastic playmaker. I believe when it's all said and done, he will be the number 2 overall pick in this draft. And this is something, by the way, if you just want to look at a world level, that can really elevate the France team onto the U.S. level. They're already in the gold medal match in the last 2 years. They have Victor Wembanyama. If they get a really nasty guard to pair up, they're going to be building something. In this mock draft, Nolan Traore goes 6 to the Chicago Bulls. Be a great haul for Chicago. But ultimately, when we're talking draft next June, I think Traore is going to be going in the top 3. All right, number 7 here, going to the Charlotte Hornets, Rocco Zikarsku. I think I nailed that. Center from Australia, actually, in Brisbane. Rocco, I can't say I'm that familiar with his game, but he is a nice stretch center. I was looking at his numbers. He averaged 18, 19 points a game last season, young fella. It makes sense for the Charlotte Hornets to target a big man because they need to start getting that front court set up nicely after getting Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball as their 2 building blocks. Trey Johnson, the guard from Texas, ends up going 8 here to the Toronto Raptors. Really superb athlete. I'm a fan of Trey Johnson, and I can't say that he's going to be someone that really leads his team to a crazy mark here in this upcoming year. I'm not that high on this Texas team coming up in a Big 12 conference. That is pretty good as well. But I do like what Trey is bringing to his table as a true freshman, and there's a common theme here. A lot of freshmen. A lot of international players. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because you're hearing us talk mock draft in 2025 already. We cover the NBA year-round, whether it be free agency, trade rumors, draft, doesn't matter. We do it all here at Chat Sports, so hit that sub button. All right, pair of picks for the Spurs here at number 9 and number 10. Kasparis, not even going to try it, from Illinois, and then Asa Newell, the 4 and center from Georgia. Now, all jokes aside on this dude's name, Kasparis, he actually is really good. He's a big-time freshman going to Illinois who has really started to build themselves up as a destination for some of these talented freshmen. He can do it at all 3 levels, very similar to Marcus Domask from a year ago, who ultimately graduated as a senior and latched on as a UDFA out there. But I think he is an uberly talented guard that will replace Terrence Shannon pretty nicely. Asa Newell is someone who can provide a nice front court mate for Victor Wembanyama if this ultimately was the pick. But with the Spurs having multiple picks likely inside the top 10 with their own, as well as the one they got from the Atlanta Hawks, really like what the Spurs can do in this upcoming draft. The Thunder, yeah, they still have good picks because Sam Presti's a genius. Hugo Gonzalez Peña, the forward from Spain, is the pick here for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then coming up here at number 12 with the Houston Rockets, another Dookie, Con Newepel, the forward, who is also a freshman. I'm not kidding. We have gone 12 picks, every single pick. True freshman, someone from overseas. If that's not a testament of what the NBA is looking for nowadays, I don't know what it is. But it does end now with Colin Murray Boyles, the forward from South Carolina, who was a true freshman last year, could have went in the first round of the NBA draft, but ultimately decided to go back to school and hone in on his game. I think he will. He's a bowling ball forward that can do it all. He plays inside at a physical rate. I was a fan of Colin. I thought he was going to be a top 25 pick if he stayed in the draft, ultimately went back to play for the Gamecocks, and I think it's going to pay off for him as he gets here at number 13 to the Atlanta Hawks. First player that was not a European or someone that is a true freshman. Back to the true freshmen. Liam McNeely, the guard/forward from UConn, the last pick of the lottery in this mock draft to Golden State. McNeely was a highly touted recruit. He is an excellent ball handler and an excellent shooter. And I am fascinated to see how he does as a true freshman in Dan Hurley's system for the Huskies. We've seen Stephon Castle go there as a true point guard, play a little bit of an off-ball role, ultimately go inside the top 10 of the NBA draft. I think McNeely is someone who's going to do the same. He's not going to get a ton of on-ball reps with Diarra coming back for the Huskies, but he can play off-ball in a shooting role. He can handle it if he needs to. I'm a big fan of Liam McNeely's game, and he's a large reason why I think UConn could try to go back to back to back. First pick outside the lottery, another Thunder pick. My goodness, do they not have enough picks or what? Igor Demen, the forward from BYU. The Cougars, by the way, are going to be a very fun team this year. They have a couple really good players coming into their system, just like Igor. Someone who can do it all in the wing position, score at all 3 levels. And we know those BYU Cougars are someone you don't want to mess with. I think Igor is going to fit in really well over there. All right, make sure you are started with Prize Picks. They are the best daily fantasy sports app on the market. I play them every single day. I really do, because you get to just combine different sports when you are playing it. Football, basketball, baseball, fighting, does not matter. You can customize your daily fantasy sports however you want to. And they also have daily specials and promotions that make it so much fun. Like this Israel Adesanya, half a significant strike. Took them more there. Took more on Bam Adebayo, 9.5 or 9.8 rebounds this upcoming year. More than Tua, 25.5 touchdowns passes this upcoming season. You can combine season-long projections. You can combine daily projections, go across different sports leagues. It's so much fun. It's also just easy to play. You just pick more or less. Yeah, on 2 or more player stat projections, and you can win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct entries right now. They also got things called Demons and Goblins, which lower stat totals, raise stat totals, but raise your payout, lower your payout. Prize Picks is the absolute best. I play them on a daily basis, and I encourage you to do so as well. And they're offering you a $100 first deposit match when you download the app today and use code CLNS, or you just go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. That link is in the description and comments of today's video, and input code CLNS to get that first deposit match up to $100. The Pelicans here at 16 take Jalil Bethia, the guard from Miami. What's the line from John Rothstein? Miami more guards than Shawshank or something like that. I don't know. But either way, Miami, another true freshman coming in here. Bethia is going to be an intriguing name to watch throughout this year. Noah Isengwe, a forward/center from Germany, heading to Atlanta. This is the second pick for the Hawks in this mock draft. They're going to need a lot of help inside. Clint Capella is nearing the end of his Hawks tenure. I don't really know what they're going to be doing down in Atlanta for the next couple of years. I don't think it's going to be very pleasant for Hawks fans, but you got to take advantage of the picks that you have, and they take Noah Isengwe from Germany in this pick. It should have been Kaman Malaha. I definitely botched that after practicing it so much. Malawach, excuse me. He's a center from Duke. By the way, I can't believe Malawach is actually going this late in this mock draft. He is a young player going to Duke, and he actually played for the South Sudan Olympic team. And did he have big-time moments? Not really. But in the team friendly against the United States, Malawach actually held his own. I think this is way too low for Kaman Malawach. I think by the time we are talking about the draft next year, he is going to be a top 10 pick without a doubt. Can already space the floor a little bit. He's a big body. I like his game. How about the Grizzlies taking Donovan Freeman, the forward from Syracuse? It just feels right to have an Orangeman back in the first round discussions. Feels like Syracuse was so good in the late 2000s, early 2000s, early 2010s. You were always seeing these Syracuse players come out to the league, and I think college basketball is better when Syracuse is good. Maybe Donovan Freeman can take him there. Maybe he could be another Carmelo Anthony for the Syracuse Orange. I don't even know if there's any Orangemen still in the NBA at this point. They've kind of run out of their turns. I'm curious. Only one that come to mind right now is Deion Waiters, but Donovan Freeman going to the Grizzlies for Syracuse. Which brings me to this question. Who is your favorite college team? Shout out your school down for me in the comment section. I got my mug here. I'm a St. Bonaventure Bonnie, baby. That's where I went to school. Let me know your college team below. All right, filling out this top 20, Will Riley, another freshman, going to Illinois. Like I said, Illinois actually had a pretty good recruiting class this year. I think they're going to be a really good team inside the Big Ten. And if Will Riley is able to complement the other guy who committed, I think they're going to be really good. But the Rockets need some wing shooters, wing depth. They get it here with Will Riley. All right, Darian Reed, the forward from Alabama, heading to Orlando. I'm curious to see what the Magic end up doing because we obviously got to see how the season plays out. But looking at Darian Reed for the future, he'd just be a backup big to Paolo and Franz Wagner. I would be shocked if the Magic don't really think about trying to get a point guard of a future at some point relatively soon. The Jazz go Michael Rusic, the forward/center from Javantat. Don't know if I said that right, but the Jazz have a lot of players that could be here for the long term, might not. They extended Lauri Markkanen. Going to be interested to see what they end up doing here. Carter Bryant, the forward from Arizona, another true freshman, going 23 to the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets have a lot of picks in this draft. Let's see if they use them correctly. They have a long way to go. Jason Known, I think I said that right, guard from Arizona State, heading to the Dallas Mavericks here at 24. Mavs, let's see what they can do in this year after going to the NBA Finals a year ago. they haven't been able to get good guard play outside of Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. So inconsistent between Tim Hardaway and some of those other guys. Maybe they take Sanon from Arizona State and really get things rolling. Isaiah Evans, another true freshman going to Duke. That's a lot of them, folks. There is now 4 true freshmen mentioned in this mock draft from Duke. I told you they had the best recruiting class in the entire country. I think number 2 was Rutgers. Those 2 teams are going to be very fun to watch this year. Isaiah Evans, another guard/forward. We could see. I feel like we're going to see low-key another Duke like R.J. Barrett, Cam Reddish, Zion class, where you have your Cooper Flagg as a Zion, and then the other freshmen follow suit. Dink Pate, the guard from the United States. I say United States is because he actually was on the G League Ignite team last year, but there is no G League Ignite team this season. They finally disbanded it. Good for those college basketball enjoyers because less players go there. He is actually playing overseas this year, but I put him as a United Statesman for his place. Another collegiate player. Yes, this is actually a returner. Kwame Evans Jr., the forward from Oregon. He's fun, man. He's got incredible bunnies, and he really was a reason why Oregon made a late push there in March Madness alongside N'Faly Dante. He was really good. Kwame Evans Jr., a bouncy, athletic forward that would make a lot of sense for a team in Oklahoma City that needs some forward depth. Pair of picks here for Brooklyn. Like I said, they had a lot of picks late. Ian Jackson, the guard from North Carolina, another true freshman. Him and Drake Powell are going to be tons of fun this year alongside RJ Davis and Elliot Cadeau. And then Ben Suraf, the guard from Germany as well. So that is now, what was that, 4 picks for Brooklyn in this mock draft? They took Cooper Flagg, Ian Jackson, Ben Suraf. I'm spacing on the other one. Let me look down at my notes. Carter Bryant, forward from Arizona. Be a pretty fun haul. Cooper Flagg's going to obviously headline the group. Last pick, the 3rd collegiate player, Alex Karabam, the forward from UConn. Shockingly went back to the college level because I thought he was going to be a fringe first-round pick in 2024. Ultimately decided that he didn't like where he was going, wanted to go back to school, try to help make UConn go back to back to back, which has, I don't think, ever been done before. I know back-to-backs are really rare in college, but I don't think it's ever happened 3 times in a row. Karabam, really smart basketball player, shoots the 3, defends, passes at a very high rate. Karabam, kind of a cheat code if he goes to Boston because they're going to need good, smart players that can fit a rotation with a cheap contract due to their contracts they're handing out left and right. You saw it, 30 picks down. Grade the mock draft A, B, C, D, or F. Listen, there's some names out there, but let me know what you think of this mock draft. A lot of picks owned by a lot of teams. Like, you know what I mean? Like Brooklyn has like 4. The Hawks have a couple. Spurs have a couple. A lot of teams own a lot of picks. All right, I do want to mention this, though, and you kind of saw the theme coming there in that mock draft. Out of the 30 picks that we saw in the first round that we just talked about, only 3 of them are returning college players. I just thought that was crazy. I wanted to share that. The 3 players being Alex Karabam, Kwame Evans, and then Colin Murray-Boyles from South Carolina. Just a different day and age, man. It's those youngins, those 18-year-olds are always getting drafted, 18, 19. And it feels like if you're not good enough to get drafted as a true freshman, you're going as a 4-year player. There's no in between. You're either drafted as a true freshman or you're staying all 4 years. No in between. All right, that'll do it for today's show. Make sure you follow me over on Twitter for more NBA draft coverage and more NBA talk. At Nic_Rohloff is the handle. Appreciate everyone watching today's video, and I'll see you next week with more NBA content. See you then.